Have you guys noticed that it's harder than ever to find recommendations for new movies and music on your streaming entertainment platforms? If so, you're not alone. I've been experiencing the same, and a lot of others have had similar complaints. And what it all comes down to is the algorithms behind these streaming services, why they work the way they work, what they want to do for user behavior, and why I think that's a really bad thing for future generations of viewers. So I think we've all probably been in this boat, right? You open up Netflix, Max, Prime Video, Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever you're on, they're going to immediately serve you with their newest original content. They're also going to show you recommendations based on a couple of things that you've watched, and a lot of those recommendations are going to be very much the same and probably pull from their original content as well. And if you're like me and you've used services like Spotify for your music, you've probably recognized the same thing. In fact, I've had to go to outside apps to try to get Spotify to serve me any kind of new music because you can get stuck in the same 30 or 40 song loop forever, and they never give you something new. They never take a risk. And the reason really is because the algorithm doesn't want to take a risk. And I have nothing against the streaming services, music, movies, TV, any of those. They're providing a service. They're giving people easy access to entertainment. It's a great thing. And I love my physical media, but I have all the streaming services. They're very convenient. They have lots of great original content. But these algorithms are developed to keep you on the application for as long as you can. And personally, I think they're developed to push as much of the original content that they can, which all makes sense. They want people to spend time. They want you to be comfortable. They want to make decisions easy. They want to serve you the comfortable choice so that you click it, you watch it. This is why Netflix would serve you up The Office and have you watching that for the 10th time before they pulled it off of Netflix. This is why Hulu or Prime will show you the same stuff, the comfortable stuff. They want you to stay on their app, spend time on their app, and they also push those originals because they spent a lot of money on them and they want you to watch those first. Now, what ends up happening when an algorithm runs that way and has been taught to run that way over years and years and years, and consumers are reacting to it, is that it won't take those risks. It's not going to show you something, some obscure foreign film or an indie film or a movie from the 1960s that might be super relevant to you based on the last couple of movies you watched from this decade. And I've noticed this the more I've posted on, Instagram or TikTok, and, I'm definitely reaching a different audience than YouTube, talking to a bit of a younger audience. And sometimes I'll post movies or post a video about a movie, and it'll be something that I think everybody knows. And I'm not that old. I'm 31 years old. I'm not, some guy who's been watching movies his whole life who's 65 and is like, I have a whole filmography here you need to see. I'm very much, I have a recency bias as well. I want to watch a lot of older stuff and see more stuff. But I'm always shocked that even movies that are just 10 years old or 5 years old, or even indie movies from the last couple of years, just aren't hitting the mainstream because they aren't getting the time of day on the platforms that the mainstream viewers are using to access their content. And I just can't imagine being like a filmmaker who's doing indie films right now, or a small band who's trying to make it. Like, the discoverability on these platforms is horrible. And we don't have, as many record stores or video stores that you can go into and ask a real person for a recommendation. Say, hey, I liked Led Zeppelin. What would you recommend? Hey, you know what I watched the other day? I watched Hereditary. Are there any other movies like that you'd recommend? A real human could give you some of those answers and maybe take some risks and get you out of your comfort zone. But an algorithm is just going to say, oh, you liked Hereditary? Well, then you should watch The Witch, or you should watch other A24 horror movies. It's not going to tell you that you should watch Burnt Offerings, or you should watch Rosemary's Baby. It's not going to give you those recs. It's just not going to do that because you might leave the platform. And so I really feel for smaller filmmakers, it's a struggle to get your stuff seen right now, smaller bands. And I also feel for just like the history of film that's out there, because even stuff, we don't even have to go back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, all the great films from, so many years ago. There's movies from the 90s, the 2000s that an entire generation has never heard of and are probably not going to hear about through these services, because it's always so funny to me, like what goes viral on Netflix, like the Netflix top 10, which of course another way that they serve you really only what's comfortable, only what other people are watching. And a lot of times if you pay attention to that, you'll see that like theatrical releases from within the last 2 to 3 years that were not popular at the box office, didn't do well, all of a sudden show up on the Netflix top 10. And, conspiracy theory did a studio maybe push that a little bit, try to get them in the top 10. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but they show up in the top 10 and all of a sudden people are like, wow, have you seen this new Netflix movie? And it's like, no, that movie came out 3 or 4 years ago. Nobody paid any attention to it. And I'm glad you're seeing it now with Netflix, but a lot of times it's like the most generic comedies or, a generic action movie. It's easy to consume content. It's nothing risky. So personally, this has been a huge reason for me why I've been looking for other platforms like a Criterion channel or Shudder, which does a great job curating horror movies and getting some deep cuts and really showing you more than just what's comfortable and more than just their originals. But those are few and far between. So it's just really going to be interesting how these algorithms just change the way people view movies and change an entire generation now of kids and even people in their, late teens, early 20s who grew up on this stuff. Those people never had a video store, and, I hope they listen to people and talk to people about film online. That's where I have found so many great recommendations. But if you live in that bubble of what the services are giving you, it's so tight. They never take a risk and they never go outside that bubble. And there's going to be so many movies that just like are lost to time that entire generations don't see because they don't go back and watch them. And I'm talking about potentially even popular stuff. Like, is there going to be a generation of kids that, they know the new Halloween movies, but they never even knew that there was a 1978 Halloween. They thought those were just flashbacks. Like, is there going to be a whole group of kids who think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a Netflix movie and have no idea how great the original is? It's just, I don't want to come off like with an old man rant here because it's bothering me too. I can never find what I want when it comes to movies and music because of these algorithms, and I appreciate what they do. I understand what they do. They're also on YouTube. They're also on social media. They affect me and my content, and certainly I wish they would recommend my content more and keep you guys in a nice little bubble of my stuff, but that's not the reality. And I think that YouTube in particular actually does a great job of helping you find new content, and TikTok as well does a great job of helping people find new content, new people, new creators in a way that the streaming services, both music and movies, just aren't doing. And I think they could learn something from that. So I had this on my mind recently because I was just having troubles finding new music. And then I realized, this is really, I find myself even getting tricked by the algorithm. I click on the same show. We go, oh, what should we watch tonight? And, we open up Netflix and watch something we've already seen. Or we go back to Hulu and watch something we've already seen. And I'm never trying anything new. I'm never taking a risk. I'm never discovering new content. And it really just struck me. And I wanted to talk about it. So I'd be curious how this has affected you guys. Have you noticed it? Have you noticed it, like maybe if you've got older kids? Have you noticed it if you're one of those kids? Maybe you're a college kid. Like, have you noticed that stuff is just not... It's just not risky. It's not creative. It's just so mainstreamed, mainline content that everybody can consume. And honestly, I think that hurts creativity because there is probably now more than ever, there's more great stuff being made in movies and music because it's more accessible and people can do it with cheaper equipment and make really cool things. And I just hate that some of that stuff has become so siloed, and like if you're not in the hardcore film community, you've never heard of this movie, which is great. And maybe that's always been the case, but I just know that I discovered many movies from just being online, talking to other people, going into a Blockbuster or a video store. I found so much in that way. Going even to buy movies, buy DVDs at video stores or at Best Buy, and we're losing all of that. And it scares me that the algorithms could become the major way that you have to find content. Quick shout out, if you're having the music problem like I am and Spotify just gives you the same crap over and over again, which are songs I like, but I want something new, check out an app called Groovify. No sponsorship here or anything. I found them through a Reddit thread, and it's incredible. Pick a song you like. It has some sliders and like, do you want more obscure, more fun, energetic? And it gives you a whole new playlist of stuff, a lot of which you probably hadn't heard. So shout out to them. Something for movies like that would be great. But until then, I guess you can watch guys like me and other people online to try to get recommendations. But it is shocking how many people don't know what I would consider to be very popular classic films. So thank you for listening and watching my old man rant. I hope this wasn't too much of an old man rant, but I had to get it off my chest. I was thinking about it and I said, this is a perfect topic for a video. If you don't want to miss a video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. And of course, you can also follow me on social media for all my content over there. It's also a great way to get in touch with me, stay up to date with what's going on. All those links are in the description and right here in the QR code. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, get away from those algorithms if you can. Try to consume something new, and I'll talk to you all soon.